Winning 2 in a row is very, very hard to do. I mean, not that many teams have done it in history. It's just extraordinary to think that we were able to get there. There were many times this year where it felt like that wasn't going to be the case. Whether it be via injury or the fact that our draw was incredibly hard. I just feel like we've had to go through a fair bit more this year than last year, believe it or not, to win the flag. I think when you do win a premiership, there's a lot of accolades and attention and pats on the back, and you feel pretty good about yourself. And I think the biggest challenge is to try and move on from that pretty quickly.
You come into a season, you're the reigning premiers, it is a different challenge. Every single team, that is the one scalp they want to get.
History shows it gets harder once you've won one. The next year, the average drop-off is 4 or 5 spots on the ladder. That happens for a reason. It gets harder. Other teams improve. You have to try and go to another level. You're not sure how everyone's going to rock up to pre-season because, you know, you're going to celebrate and enjoy those moments together, but I feel like our group did a fantastic job at all coming back in really good nick, and you know, that was driven by our younger players as well, and they all came back flying day one of pre-season, and makes all the older guys, myself included, see that and you're like, geez, I've got to get up there and give it my all too.
I think they'd be pretty motivated to have that feeling again. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we're ready to roll.
Will?
I'm ready for pre-season.
It just felt like every team was coming at us, and that was a scalp for them, and we probably should have known that was coming.
Something that we've tried to focus on is changing the narrative. Clearly, everyone sort of thinks that we're the hunted, but we've had a real mindset, particularly this pre-season and even last year, like to make sure that we're going out and still hunting every week.
The motivation, I mean, it's always there to do it again, let alone having guys like Darcy Gardner and Big Oscar obviously missed out in 24.
Seeing Darcy Fortin and Big O sort of embrace after the final siren of the 24 grand final with the way he was, you know, carrying himself after the game, he was probably the happiest guy on the ground, and yeah, to do that without any hindsight of, you know, what would happen potentially 12 months later was just, yeah, a true reflection of him as a team man and how big he was in our culture.
It ended up being more of a motivation than I realised, actually.
The big question mark over Brisbane is Joe Danaher.
Joe Danaher is irreplaceable. If it wasn't for Joe Danaher, they don't win the grand final last year.
The loss of Joe Danaher was an interesting one. I mean, I was at Hawthorn when we lost Lance Franklin after we won the first flag in, I think, 2013. It was like back at Hawthorn, the world was going to end because Bud went to Sydney, and it was a little bit the same with Joe. That wouldn't necessarily mean that we couldn't do it again the next year. We just have to find a different way to do it.
We spread the load down there. We had, you know, Logan Morris obviously sort of emerge as an unbelievable young footballer. I thought Eric had a great season. The emergence of Ty Gallup late in the year, and obviously we've got a plethora of sort of small forwards and dangerous mids that can get on the scoreboard. So it was great for our, I guess, versatility down there, a variety of options.
Losing someone like Joey, he's obviously a superstar player, but also his contribution as a leader and as a club person was second to none as well.
I think the best teams always find a way to replace those guys.
Our first half of the year was, I thought it was all right. Like, we were still winning games of football, and you're never going to be perfect, or you don't really want to be perfect until later in the year.
Silent sounds. No premiership hangover here.
For us to be able to stack up the wins and, you know, against some good teams as well.
Brisbane start their premiership defence 3-0, overturning a 32-point deficit. The Lions are going to be tough to stop in 2025.
There was plenty of great lessons in the first half of the season. I think we were 5-0, but weren't actually playing our best footy. We had real confidence that our best football would, you know, when we played well through patches of games, it would stack up and would actually, you know, bank some wins along the way.
When we were able to come back and win a lot of those games, it gave us a lot of belief that our best footy was good enough once again. So we knew that if we brought the right mindset and intensity and executed our roles and played to the game plan, that there wasn't many teams that could stop us.
39 points down. Brisbane do a job on the Dogs. by 21 points, and this Brisbane team, they are never, ever beaten.
We lost a couple that we probably would have liked to have won.
It's going to be a draw. They've knocked off the defending champions.
That's the season. You've got to learn from those losses and continue to sort of improve as the year goes on, and I thought we were able to do that.
Where are they at, Gaz?
They've been a bit middle of the road in everything they've done, but to be where they are now, you take it, you come back to the MCG, you'll find out exactly how you are travelling against this Hawthorn side now.
My 200th game at the MCG against my old team, Hawthorn. We played a great game that day. It was a fantastic win because we'd struggled against Hawthorn for a while.
And Brisbane come to the MCG and do a big job on the Hawks by 33 points. Do not forget, they are the reigning premiers.
I tried to sneak off the ground and not sort of go through that guard of honour business. I'd actually got down to the rooms and thought, you beauty, I've done it, I've escaped. And Josh Dunkley came down to the rooms and said, mate, the boys have got a guard of honour for you. You've got to go up there and walk through it. So I reluctantly went back. Yes, I wasn't going to let Harris put me on his shoulders.
He wouldn't let them.
It was a nice moment though for me. I never thought I'd get to coach one AFL game, so to get to 200 was a pretty special moment for myself and my family.
You can see how much it means, how much Fags means to the group. He acts like he doesn't like the limelight and a bit of enjoyment, but I think he enjoys a bit of attention.
Great scenes, Gary.
This is fair. This gives you an idea of just how
Look at the passion in this club.
revered this man is.
Not only behinds, but the out on the fools. Bailey simply must, and again he can't. He fails the task.
They spooked him.
They lost their heads. That gave you no chance.
They've lost their heads.
Pride it clear and miss. Oh no! What a bizarre 12 minutes from the reigning champs. This could be a season changer for the Giants. A win away from home and a win from 21 points down.
2 wins from their last 6 games. There's a few alarm bells there.
The run towards the fire theme sort of came in the lead up to the Geelong game. Jared Berry had seen some film clip with a trainer and his boxer giving him a speech at sort of coming into the last round.
Look, the fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? We're firemen. Okay. We are firemen. Got it, Coach. The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat. Yeah, let's go.
He sort of carried on like, we're firemen. We run towards the fire. We go towards the danger. And Bez thought that would be not a bad theme for us because being the Premiership team, everyone's sort of coming at you and in some ways it can lead you to become a little bit defensive. And this was like the complete opposite of that. You know, usually I'd run away from a fire, but Bez thought, no, we need to go towards it. We need to take it on. And I showed the boys that film clip coming into the Geelong game. We played them down at GMHBA Stadium and a place where we'd not had a win for many, many years.
We weren't really taking on the risk. Like as soon as we got a bit nervous with ball in hand or whatever it might be, we sort of started to go into our shells. So yeah, we had a leadership group meeting and talked about running toward the fire.
We need to start playing a bit more attacking and potentially not be afraid of what's going to happen if we are playing a bit more aggressive and attacking style. And anyway, Bez sent this video to Fags and Fags came into the meeting and talked to a few of us about it and was like, yeah, it's a good theme to run with. And coincidentally, we were playing down in Geelong on the Friday night, I think it was, for Danger's 350th, which, yeah, it was like a massive occasion, obviously, for the Cats. And we hadn't won in Geelong for 20 plus years and copped a few beltings along the way.
Bring on the heat and just embrace the challenge ahead as well. I think that's something that I took out of it, embracing everything that gets thrown at you.
Geelong is about as hard as it gets, I reckon, in AFL footy, and it had been a long time for us. I think it was something like 20 years maybe since we'd won there. I knew that was a bit of a theme. We talked about that coming into the game too, the chance to create a little bit of histry and tick one of our hoodoos off.
Chris Fagan's men break the last of the hoodoos. A 22-year drought at Geelong comes to an end in a powerhouse display that'll send a tremor or two through the competition.
I consider it one of our best ever wins, and it gave us a lot of confidence coming into the second part of the year that we could perhaps do it again. I think it was the best away record of any team in AFL history, is it, of an interstate team. Our boys enjoy each other's company. They love getting on the road together. They have a lot of fun when they do that.
Our group just unites and we enjoy going away together. We do a lot of recovery together. Like, there's so many things. We go out for dinner, breakfast, whatever it might be. We sort of see it as a bit of a positive to be able to go away together and really enjoy each other's company and bring you closer.
So many guys have come from different parts of Australia that a lot of guys live together. We go for dinners, we play golf, we spend a lot of time together, really tight-knit group. So I think, we really embrace the challenge of travelling, and we obviously have to do it a fair bit being an interstate club. So I think, we just enjoy each other's company and playing for each other.
I think that Gold Coast game was actually really important for our group. It was a big wake-up call.
Everyone on the coast will be celebrating this performance that no one saw coming. A 66-point demolition in Q Clash number 29.
It's all red. I've never seen that.
We'd had the wood over them for a long time, and I think even, that late in the season, I feel like our mindset was still not as sharp as it needed to be.
I think Fags' attitude of we either win or we learn is a great reason why we have such good responses after, poor performances.
It was just a one-week thing. Better be a one-week thing.
We really feel like that's a real strength of our coaching group, is we reflect on things that we do well, but also, when we have a bad performance, we reflect on things we don't do well and how can we improve that.
This is Optus Stadium. This is finals, consequence on the line. Brisbane up against the Dockers.
We knew what it looked like from a calculation standpoint. We had to win one of those two games. Fremantle were same sort of space. They were trying to win to get into finals. So, we really set ourselves for a big match over there. Just really proud of the boys to, travel to the other side of the country against a really hungry team and get a great result. We knew that it was a really great lead into finals. I reckon playing Fremantle and then Hawthorn the next week was like, boys, we've nearly got an early final series starting here.
We'd won the flag the previous year. We had no reason to be negative or careful in the way that we played the game, so we went to Perth and attacked it. We rallied together and produced a great performance that got us into finals.
The Brisbane Lions have been able to do what the previous two premiers have not. They are going to play finals football. A big step to defending the premiership. In a heavyweight clash, Brisbane celebrate because they know they're top four. They'll finish third.
I don't recall what I said. I remember doing it and thinking, nobody took any notice of me there. I think it was just an old coach getting pretty excited about the fact that, we're going to play finals and we're going to have a double chance.
If you want to win the 2025 Premiership, you're going to have to go through Brisbane Lions. They are primed and ready to go again.
The roar of 90,000 strong at the MCG. Two teams that have lain in wait for this moment. The Cats and the Lions. It drips with possibility.
These are heavyweight footy clubs. They've won two of the last three premierships. They know what it's all about.
I thought we played some good games coming into finals and that we're in great shape. We'd played Geelong twice during the year and been able to win both those encounters.
They were sensational. They were super sharp around the ball. Their ability to, make us pay defensively. It felt like we were probably a little bit off with some of our reaction time stuff and our ability to defend the ground. The Cats are great in that regard, that they really make you pay for that.
Stewart on the burst. Unloads for the goal front. Yes!
Forward it goes from close. Oh, Bailey Smith. The hair, the flare. Great play. Oh, is this going to be a goal? Oh, that is fantasy football.
Releases Lockie.
Hands up short.
There's a lot of second guessing going on.
He's not trying to disguise this. That's just made a bad night worse. Let's look at a coach has realised that the night has just got as bad as it can get.
When that happened, it sort of was a bigger pop and everything that I'd ever felt before, and I tried to play for about 2 minutes but just couldn't really run on it, and I sort of thought, oh yeah, this is not good. I thought my season was over straight away.
Calves are never good things, especially in older players, and he's got very big calves in case you haven't noticed. So yeah, the medical team weren't very optimistic that he would be able to play again this year.
Geelong have turned the tables on the champs, and they forced the Lions to go the long way round the mountain.
Do you see any circumstances under which the Brisbane Lions can regather themselves and make a premiership tilt without Lachie Neale?
It's a long way back to the premiership from here.
I remember Chris Scott stayed at the hotel that we stayed at. I saw him in the lift the next morning. I walked in and there he was, standing there, the bloke I coached against the night before, and he goes, "Oh, how's Lachie?" I said, "Oh, I think he's pretty much done for the year, mate." I feel a bit awkward about that now because he actually played in the grand final, but I honestly believe that, and that's what we all thought was going to happen.
Your mind starts to wander a little bit when one of your best players goes down, and you're probably in a little bit of doubt heading into the rest of the season.
Had a scan and they said, yes, you're done. Ruled out for the year. And yeah, it probably wasn't until a week later when the boys played Gold Coast that playing sort of became a reality.
It's probably a blessing that we'll play in the Gold Coast the next week, there's a lot of rivalry obviously between us and them, and the boys are fairly stung by the defeat. As it turned out, the loss to Geelong in that first final was probably the best thing that could have ever have happened to us.
When you come away from losing a qualifying final, you can sort of think about how disappointing it is to lose, but you've got to very quickly then move on to the next thing, and knowing that you're coming up against a team that has won the week before, and you've sort of got to pick yourself up, get the bottom lip off the deck, and get on with the job.
We moved on quickly, and Fags was driving that. Like, he wanted to move on to Gold Coast, because I think it was quite a while since the Lions had actually lost the first final and won the second one, so it was a bit of history for us as a group. And I remember talking to Danny Daly, our head of footy, early in that week, and it was all about, moving on to the next game, focusing on what we can control. And I felt like we did that against Gold Coast. Like, they were obviously coming off a great win, and we learned a lot of lessons from the Geelong game that we'd sort of stored away if we were going to come up against them again, not knowing that we would.
Having a loss that big in that first final, it can really dent a team's confidence. We were just on the same playing field as the teams that had won the last week. We were getting another opportunity, so I feel like our mindset really shifted for that straight away.
When we lost that final, we sort of took the view that Oscar was going to be somewhat of an inspiration if he was able to come back into the team, and his back was feeling a little bit better at that point in time. Danny Daly and I talked about whether that could give us an emotional lift if Oscar could come back into the team, and so we felt like that would be beneficial to the team, and so made that decision really based on that. That's how big a spirit man he was for our team.
Rumour has it you've been using the hyperbaric chamber. If they were to win tonight and win next week, is there a chance?
I'm giving myself like a 50% chance, but I think the physios and the doctors and the rest of the medical fraternity are giving me about a 1% chance.
I was probably trying to convince myself more than anything. I think before that game, I was just doing some calf raises on my bag calf in the rooms, and one of the S&C guys walked past and saw me doing a calf raise and said that I shouldn't be able to have that sort of function yet. So I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty weird. And he said, we're going to run tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. If the boys get up, we'll run tomorrow morning. I couldn't pull up sore from any of the running sessions or anything, like one little hiccup, and it was all over. But yeah, the club did an unbelievable job in guiding me through the rehab, obviously the running and stuff, but also the protocols that I did away from the club, like the hyperbaric chamber and red light therapy, and there was a sauna sort of therapy that I did once a week, which was pretty full on as well. They just set me up really well to be able to come back from that injury, and yeah, full credit to them for sort of backing me in as well.
It is the biggest game in Queensland footy history, a knockout Q clash for a preliminary final berth against Collingwood.
It's the ultimate Q clash. This is the game we've been waiting for.
That was our record. We'd find a way to lose, and then we'd find a way to win. So losing never seemed to be a bad thing for us during the year, so I was optimistic that we could respond.
The mids were on edge. We saw a few stats from when we played them at the Gabba early in the year to then that Gold Coast game, and we probably felt like we weren't up to scratch. My role on Matty Rao down on the Gold Coast wasn't anywhere near where it should be, and I was trying to hand over a little bit and didn't really get my job done. So there are other guys too that felt the same way about their role.
Are you ready for this? The biggest Q clash in history.
I'm really proud of our midfield, the way they played. I know that the Suns have got an incredible midfield, and we'd obviously lost Lachie. I thought Dunks did a great job playing on Matty Rao.
We really started to find that football that we knew worked in the finals as it did the year before.
Our blokes responded particularly well. was a very even team performance.
Brisbane are still the kings of Queensland football. They are into yet another preliminary final against the Pies.
The morning of the preliminary final where we played Collingwood, because I know Lockie had a pretty important training session that morning. He had to cover over 10 Ks, and it was a fairly gruelling sort of session, a real tester, if you like. And the medical people told me when they got back from that training session that they thought Lockie would be right to play next week if we were good enough to get through to the grand final.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. Did about 8 or 9 Ks, and a lot of it was high speed, repeat effort stuff, and basically the club were trying to tear my calf then, so it was like, all right, if it's going to go, it's going to go in this session. You're either going to get through and play, or you're going to tear your calf again now, and they said, are you comfortable with that? Obviously, to have the opportunity to play in a grand final, you do anything, so pulled up well, and yeah, once I finished that session, I knew that I'd be right to go the next week.
He texted me straight away, I think after the training session, he's like, mate, I'm good to go, like I could play tonight, and that just gave me a lot of confidence that, if we're able to win against the Pies, that he'd be back the week after.
We played Collingwood a few times post the 2023 grand final. To be honest with you, they had the wood on us for a few games there. We beat them late in the season last year at the MCG, and I never really felt that was any compensation for losing the grand final against them. And this is the first time we played them in the final since that grand final, and so we thought it was an opportunity to get a little bit of redemption. There's some Western film, I think it was called The Reckoning or something like that. Anyway, there was a little bit in it that I showed the boys.
No, make no mistake. It's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
Probably the only guy in the room that would have been alive when that movie was created was Fakes. He showed us some vision of, the reckoning, which was like making amends for a previous battle, confrontation sort of thing. So he brought it back to, obviously, the 2023 grand final against the Pies, where, they were able to get up by a goal. And it's all good and well to say to yourself, you want to make amends during the home and away season, but the only real opportunity lies in the fact big games in finals, an opportunity to go to the grand final the following week.
He showed us pictures of us after the 23 grand final, and you could just see, when I was looking at those photos, it was a bit daunting and a bit of a average experience, so you didn't really want to have that again, and felt like we owed them one from that game.
If we are really disappointed about the fact that they beat us in the grand final, here's the chance to sort of get over it and move on. And we talked about that game and how we felt after it, so it was a pretty powerful motivating force.
It's hard not to feel nervous just being in the venue at the moment. The anticipation, this has been a real rivalry between these two clubs.
Big news there. Jarrett Berry looks like he's done a shoulder. Only a few weeks ago he popped it out. Looks like it might have come out again.
Got it to Long. He could go for home. He goes to the square. Lipinski. Goal! Collingwood in front.
Another double 50. All happening now at the G. Collingwood out by 8. Now it's Brisbane that are looking a touch rattled.
Houston. Oh my goodness! How big is that?
They're kicking them from everywhere.
6 goals to 0. Collingwood turn around a 20-point deficit at quarter time to lead it by 13 at the major break.
They've got some questions to answer in the Lions change rooms over half-time.
I did talk about running towards the fire. I did talk about the reckoning and the opportunity that this game would give us, and the boys responded really well in the second half.
We talked about running towards a fire and continuing to go at the game, no matter what the scoreboard was saying. Bit of a no scoreboard mentality for us, and yeah, we went out there in the second half and we were able to sort of continue to pepper, and then finally the dam wall broke.
The fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? We're firemen. Okay. We are firemen.
Got it, Coach.
The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat.
Yeah, let's go.
It tells us that we're ready. We're at home. We're where we're supposed to be. Flames don't intimidate us. What do? We control the play. We control them. We move the play where we want to. And then we extinguish them.
Brisbane, they were down, they were out, but they've risen again. The back-to-back dream is still alive. Next Saturday, Geelong v Brisbane for the Premiership.
When the siren went there, that Collingwood game, to think, gee, we're going to get a second chance against Geelong. It was a special moment because I just thought in the back of my mind, we learnt so much from that loss a few weeks back, and it was still fresh in our minds. And I knew our guys had good grand final experience, and that the occasion wouldn't scare them at all. In fact, they'd embrace it. To make 3 grand finals in a row is bloody amazing. And that this group had done it, I thought it was a special achievement. But we pretty quickly moved on to the next task of trying to beat the Cats, who had proven way too good for us a few weeks earlier.
So that's a worrying moment. That just made a bad night worse. Lachie Neale's preposterous idea of coming back from a calf injury from the qualifying final for the grand final sort of felt initially like a way to stay engaged, and now it's a live proposition.
They've put him through every single test that they've needed to, and I think in the back of their mind they've probably wanted him to break to sort of solidify what they were thinking, but he just hasn't. He's been able to get through everything that they've put in front of him.
My gut feel would be it's a massive risk.
The coaches hate the sub rule, but the fact you have got a sub, I would take the risk.
Yeah, I think the physios couldn't really believe what they were seeing. The way he was training, he trained pretty hard on the Tuesday.
We knew Lachie was going to be fit, but it was more around, do you reckon he's played enough footy to go out there and play a full hard game in a grand final, or would he be better off to start as a sub and we bring him into the game in the second half?
A little bit of ego and pride, I suppose, that you're like, no, start me, like I'm ready to go.
If he started and he ran out of juice halfway through the third quarter, that would be a real spirit killer for us. But the alternative to that was bring him on at half-time, and we thought that might be a real spirit lifter for us, particularly if we were in the game.
By sort of Wednesday, Thursday, I'd wrap my head around it and felt really comfortable in the role.
Cameras forced to shoot Neale from any vantage point they could muster. The midfielder did make it through the 80-minute session unscathed. Jared Berry reportedly didn't train, which would all but end his hopes of featuring on Saturday against the Cats.
The way Jared conducted himself in the week leading up to the grand final, he desperately wanted to play in the game, and I think deep down he thought he could.
His selflessness to rule himself out going into a grand final, you know, stands for the character that he is.
One of the biggest acts I've ever seen from an individual, and I think it set up our week, to be honest.
He didn't want to let the team down, and it was a hard call for him to make.
When I got the scan on Sunday, it wasn't a great result. It was a high-grade syndesmosis tear, but they were confident that I could play, although it was probably against all medical advice that you could. So just took it easy earlier in the week, and I didn't really tell the group about it, just because I felt like, you know, we had Lockie's injury, Bez's injury. We had a lot of injuries that, you know, were sort of talked about a lot, so I just try to keep it on the down low.
It's really interesting when you've played a side a few weeks apart. Things that didn't work in the first final, you can try and remedy a little bit come grand final day.
We were the beneficiaries of the fact that we lost. Like, we had to look at it and say, well, geez, they've worked us out. What are we going to do that's a little bit different?
I felt like running our heels a little bit and probably not like running to the fire like we discussed. We probably weren't doing that as much in the qualifying finals.
Brisbane free down the other end.
Pretty much straight away after we won that Collingwood game, my mind started to shift to what the matchup would be in the grand final, and I really remember sitting after that first final and just thinking to myself, like, geez, I'd love to get another shot at that.
It won't be a popular goal.
We gave more attention to Patrick Dangerfield in the game because he played one of the greatest games I've ever seen the week before in the preliminary final.
He's got the cape on. He straps the Superman cape on Dangerfield.
The Cats are into another grand final on the back of a truly remarkable man, Patrick Dangerfield.
Give me a little inkling who you might sidle up next to. I'll give you an inkling.
All right.
I think you're sidling up next to Patrick Dangerfield.
Yeah, potentially. First bounce, we'll see how we go. You're always on edge, and I feel like as a player, if you're not on edge, you're probably not going to be at your best. But when you're coming up against a guy like that just had the game that he had, you're very, very on edge.
Grand final eve as we count down to the most important day on the football calendar. We know it's not far away now.
Levi, you were sitting in the crowd this time last year. This must be a pinch yourself moment.
Yeah, can't believe it, man. It's so surreal to be able to be here 12 months later, and yeah, so pumped to get into it.
Gutting over the fence just a year earlier, and then for him to play every game in his debut season, for us to play in a grand final, we knew we wanted to create something really special by winning.
Why don't touch the cup?
I didn't want to hold it just because I wanted to hold it a year later myself. It was a great day for Will and for the 2024 Lions, but I wanted to be a part of that 2025 team.
And what's your strategy when you lift the cup? Are you a believer of last touch wins?
I got up and in both interviews said, I don't care, I'm going to let go first.
Oh, I think Paddy Dangerfield let go first.
I look because I'm scared it's going to fall off. And it looks like I'm looking at the other hand, but I'm actually not.
Lucky Neil was all over it.
Danny Daly, working in the background, realised that Joey was around and doing some, I think he might have been doing some cashies on grand final week.
We're all kind of just standing around in the team room, and then he came barging in through the side, and all the boys just started erupting.
We love Joey.
Beautiful to come in here and see everyone ready to go, happy, excited. Not have too much today, have fun and enjoy it.
I think it definitely gave the guys a bit of a pick-me-up.
Just made the boys laugh, sort of have a bit of fun. Just his presence in general, I don't know, puts a smile on your face even just thinking about him.
Joey's an energy bringer as a person, and it was just good to see him. It was a feel-good moment, I guess you'd say.
So much to look forward to, a day when reputations are made, reputations enhanced, some reputations deflated. It's all about the ability to perform on the biggest day in the game.
You run out and you see 100,000 people there, super loud. You give yourself that split moment when you run out to actually take it all in.
I just felt so comfortable and relaxed out there and felt like you are where you're meant to be.
After obviously thinking your year was done and going through a fair bit with the rehab process, felt just very grateful that I'd had the opportunity to be out on the MCG on that day again.
Here we go, two great clubs, two great teams, one big day to decide who is the best in 2025.
I just remember the first quarter being hot. It was one of the grand final, the first 5 minutes, you're always running around like you're not fit. It's like the first pre-season session.
It did feel like the Cats probably settled in a little bit better than we did.
Manor hands it up, Bose on the run through. The opener, Dempsey gets it there.
The heat is on, there has been a lot of double grabbing.
Fletcher up against the boundary, keeps it alive. He wants the 1-2. Levi Ashcroft with the spear pass. The big O back inside. This is the kick though. McCluggey is to Ivan.
We're quite famous for being inaccurate in front of goal, and it's cost us a few games over the years. It was a good settler.
He's been cut up, but he can cut you up if you give him a chance.
In the first quarter after missing those goals, I was extremely frustrated, to be honest.
Zach Bailey! Zach goes whack! No!
You pencil that in 9 times out of 10 from Zach Bailey.
That's just going to grow bigger and bigger on your shoulder until he can fix that up.
To start 0-4 in a game like that, you just want to be making the most of your opportunities.
We talk a lot about being goldfish and just moving on from mistakes. Missing the goal seems to be the hardest mistake for us to move on from.
Getting forward again.
It was a tight match-up. There was goal for goal.
Oh, Mullen's got the taste for kicking finals goals, and he's not sated yet.
Our plan for the grand final was to, if you could kick it and get it out of the congestion, then do it. And our players ahead of the ball were on their toes ready for that.
Morris has a big moment here.
He's got some serious forward craft, this young man, Logan Morris.
From a happy meal to a premiership star last season. Could have 2 flags before he notches up 50 games. What a gun he's become. Gets it long and strong. Morris impeded a little. Charlie gets his moment here. Charlie toward goal. Magnificent, Charlie. It's good to have you back.
Charlie's our heartbeat in our forward line. I think naturally as teammates you're going to get a bit of a lift from that.
The energy that he brings, how he lights the crowd up.
It just gets us going, gets our crowd going, and I think Geelong were a bit probably shocked at how many we had in the house.
Ford getting plenty of the footy. He's done that a few times out of the middle to Ashcroft. Marks in front of Clark.
I sort of saw Big O in the goal square, and I think he was one-on-one or a couple of people around him. Just a bit of instinct in the moment to to play on and go around him, and yeah, the rest is history.
In his first grand final, he takes on another youngster. He kicks it long and straight. Oh, Levi, he'll get a kick out of that. A huge grand final goal to the younger Ashcroft.
It was an amazing moment. I always find myself on the bench when he's kicking goals, so I didn't get to celebrate with him, unfortunately.
Struck it well. It's all square. We're going to start all over again.
It's a good arm wrestle. We're loving this. Just when one team looks to establish a bit of momentum, the other is good enough to reef it back.
It was incredibly even, actually, the whole first half. I got to half-time thinking, gee, we've played pretty well here, scores are level. Are we going to run out of gas because we've played every week? Are they going to come over the top of us?
There is still nothing between Brisbane and Geelong. It's 5 goals, 6 apiece. What a grand final.
Big news, it's Lachie Neale, the dual Brownlow medalist. There's questions over him. He's on and in. Sam Marshall goes out. Tactical sub, Jace. Is it the right time to inject him?
Well, they think the moment is right. There is a game to be won. Here we go.
Josh Lowe, our S&C guy, said you're going to come on to start the third, so make sure you're ready. And yeah, that's probably the most nervous I've ever been, I reckon.
I would have pulled the trigger on that move earlier if the game had been out of our control, but it felt like we were going pretty well. So we remained patient until half-time. The hard part about that was who was going to come out of the game, because you feel a little bit sorry for those guys. If you just played half a grand final and you're on the bench and you're out of it. And that player ended up being Sam Marshall.
He was ready, like he was just ready to go, and you knew that if he was coming on that he was going to have an impact because of the player that he is and the person that he is. He wants to showcase what he's capable of.
The game was right on a knife's edge.
Here's Dane Zorko again with a bomb down the middle.
Our ability to just pound the rock and keep going at it.
Ball to the back, Bailey! Right spot, right time. Zach does go whack.
A nice little soccer from 3 metres out was a nice one to put through.
I was sitting there thinking this game's going to go down to the wire.
He's got him by the collar!
One team couldn't get away from the other team.
This for the lead back. Holmes! All the way, Holmes!
What a game.
What a game.
We were playing really good footy. We were confident. We were connected. We felt that at some point it was gonna switch in our favour.
And then we just sort of slammed on 3 goals pretty quickly.
Gallop goes hard. Feeds it back in. The old 1-2. Bruce, top of the square. Will Charlie get up? Charlie! And he puts that into the Shenandoah River.
People hear the media talk about the fact, Fox sticks with Charlie too much. He should be playing in the reserves. That's not how you operate with Charlie. You just got to keep showing faith in him, and you know that he'll not let you down.
It's 1-on-1, man on man, and oh man, it's Loman to Charlie Cameron. Oh wow! The Brisbane Lions have got it back on their terms again.
I was sort of tracking corridor and saw the Geelong player miss Bailey Smith with the handball, and I actually saw the Zork sort of out of the corner of my eye take off and thought that he was going to get hold of the footy or at least impact.
O'Sullivan out to Smith, missed him, Zorko again.
I was waving my arms as I do, calling for the ball, and Zork did a nice little step, and he doesn't handball much, Zork, but that one hit me in a great spot.
To Lachie Neale! Long Lachie! Lachie Neale! The super sub!
Gave it a bit with the celebration. I don't usually celebrate. I'll remember that moment forever.
What a moment. Like, it was like I was watching a movie where I was.
I get a bit sort of goosebumps thinking about it. I flat out haven't seen him kick 50 metres in his life.
We had all the momentum, and that was the turning point.
No, I knew it was a moment. Suddenly the Lions supporters found their voice. The body language of our players was up and about.
As we head to the last quarter, it's Brisbane by 19. Are they on their way to back-to-back?
Fags was very quick to just remind us, hey boys, we've got 30 minutes to play here. All we have to do is just win this quarter. He talked about, making sure that we kept running towards the fire.
A quarter to go.
We started that fourth quarter on fire.
Brisbane Lions lead is 19. Blitzards in the ruck, mown down by Rayner. Ashcroft takes the advantage, kicks them deep. Charlie again for his fourth goal, the biggest kick of his career, and it is pure Charlie genius.
In the blink of an eye, I think we were 10 goals in front.
O'Sullivan had to handball, gave it straight to Rayner. The goal was there for the taking, and he took it. Neil to Ashcroft. That is unreal. A champion in our midst. Off Morris's hands, they're lining up. Huey with a snap. But glory is coming the way of the Lions again.
Oh, this man's going to have another shot. You can't kick 1-7, can you?
My reaction sort of tells it all in the moment. I probably over-celebrated that moment a little bit, but yeah, that's a moment that I won't forget from that grand final.
Flawless! At last, Zach Bailey!
Now they know, Jason. Now they know.
They're enjoying these last 8.5 minutes, guys.
I used to yell out, woo, in the meetings. Canberra showed me this Ric Flair bloke, I didn't know who it was. And then he showed me his walk and said you got to pull it out in a gang one time.
Logan, the showman. And he struts and tells the world, try and stop us in the years that are coming. To his number. Oh, Brad Rayner cuts Smith into half. That's the third time he's come charging off like a wrecking ball.
I think that was the best one. Yeah, that was my favourite. I think my mum and my dad loved that one, so I'll shout out to them.
Huey and I have a bit of a connection. Like both years we've sort of come together in the last quarter and being like, we've just done it. A bit more explicit than that.
Anything is possible on a day that they will never, ever forget. Soak it up.
You just go far out, boys. We've done it again.
They're great when you win grand finals and you know you've got 1 more 5 or 10 minutes to go, because the whole thing turns into a celebration. The crowd are into it, the players are into it. There's high fives everywhere, there's smiles everywhere. Even in your own mind, you start to reflect on the season and, you know, just what a good effort it's been to get to this point and to win it. And you really can't wipe a smile off your face. So it's a feeling I wish that everybody could have. It's quite unique. And to watch the players celebrate out on the field and the things that I was doing. Zorko and Harris Andrews are hugging each other and cheering them, as long as you just kicked the goal, because they knew they had it.
Well, Ashcroft, he holds it up. He holds it up.
What's going on?
From the front row to the nosebleed section, they are celebrating. That's the new age right there.
I don't know, I didn't really plan it or think too much about it, to be honest. I got a goal straight away, so it didn't end up looking as cool as it might have.
For that siren to go, it's just, yeah, you can't really put it into words.
The main man again. Brisbane go back to back. A premiership of unbelievable courage, belief and brilliance.
Do it with all your mates, like all the guys that you've worked away with all year. There's obviously the boys on field, but the boys up in the stands. It's just a very proud moment and a moment that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I don't feel like it gets any better unless you do 3 in a row, to be honest.
True Lions, true champions.
My instant reaction was really wanting to find Dizzy Gardner. I've got a really great relationship with him. Myself, Ryan Lester, Dane Zorko, guys that I've been at the club with for 11 years. Seen some great times, also seen some pretty low times, and it was really special to be out on the field with those guys, particularly with Diz missing obviously 12 months earlier. For both Diz and Oscar, they're just such stalwarts of our footy club. 12 months on, to see both of those guys up there receiving a medal was the biggest highlight of the day for me, to be honest.
To see them carry the cup inside off the oval into the change rooms for the after-match celebrations, the photos of that and the film of that, they're great memories.
The year before, they were just as happy for us boys to get the medal and celebrate with us, but to now be able to celebrate with them was, something I'll never forget.
The 2 things I remember most is hugging Lockie after the siren. Change the game, mate.
Every week that is a big game when you're fresh.
No, it was good. We did a good job. No, that's all right. You know, his excitement, the fact that he was even able to play and that he was able to make that contribution and that he took it the right way. You know, he didn't get upset about the fact he was the sub. He could easily have done that, but he just played his role. That was a big thing for that game. And the other moment I loved, you know, there's a lot of people out on the ground now after grand finals, and I happened to run into my two daughters and my wife and my mum, and we had a big hug. That was a pretty special moment because your family sacrifices so much when you're a coach. And my mum, she'd sacrificed so much as a mother raising us kids, and my wife supports me unbelievably, and my daughters ride every wave with me. And so to run into them after the game and to have a big hug, someone got a photo of that and got a copy of it for everyone in the family for Christmas to put up on the wall. And that's the thing about grand finals. You look around, you see all the families out there with the players. There's a story in every single one of those families about their sons and them and their careers, and that's the highlight when the siren goes and you see what joy it brings to so many other people connected to your team.
It all starts again, so let's go get another one.